Tucker Carlson had a great interview with Cornel West, a so-called democratic socialist. There's no such thing, by the way, as democratic socialism. There is nothing democratic about socialism. Socialism is a means of control over the people. It's economic control. It's political control. It is a control over every part of your life. Political freedom and economic freedom are married together. You can't separate the two. Now, they try to separate the two because democratic socialism is a flowery talking point to take the edge off socialism and the hundreds of millions it's killed, tortured, starved, and imprisoned over the years. So Tucker Carlson had Cornel West on in a really, it's a longer debate, but I want to give you a short snippet of it, where Cornel West, incredibly, I can't believe this still continues among seemingly intelligent people, tries to defend the horrors of socialism.
But has it struck you as interesting that it's never actually worked anywhere? So the question is not what are our goals. Our goals are the same. How do we get there is the question. So what happened in Venezuela? They call that democratic socialism, but they don't have toilet paper, and it's less equal than ever.
But part of the problem is, though, brothers, that any time there's been the attempts of ordinary people to engage in self-determination, they can get crushed by external nations. Look at U.S. policies toward Venezuela has been very, very ugly. Nicaragua in the same way. We saw that in so many other instances where countries tried to engage in self-determination, and they either get crushed, they either get coerced, and they end up oftentimes responding to that kind of authoritarian treatment. So we've never had a chance to really pull it off. So it's only been a movement so far. It's an attempt to resist the greed at the top, the racism, the sexism, the homophobia, the various ways in which humanity is violated rather than affirmed.
So if a government's obligation is to its own citizens, and you drop the borders and have no border enforcement at all, what would happen to this country? What would happen to the poor people in this country? Would their lives get better? Would they become more prosperous? No. This country would become poorer, dirtier, impossible to manage. It would be flooded with the poor of the world, and it would destroy our country instantly. So why would you say no borders?
Well, I mean, again, no, you got a variety of voices in the Democratic Socialists of America. We like a jazz orchestra. You got different perspectives and orientations. We all don't agree on one particular policy all the time.
What was that? I took some notes, but, you know, we do kind of the pre-show show. It's like a professional operation. I got to come on at 5 o'clock my time. For a half an hour, we go through the show. I take little notes. It was like a word salad. I don't even know what Cornel West was saying. I took a couple notes out of that to try to decipher what he was. I don't even get what he really. It made no sense at all. But fascinatingly enough, he tries to describe democratic socialism as self-determination. Has Cornel West cracked a book about what socialism is? Socialism is the exact opposite of self-determination. It's collectivism. It's the government ownership of the means of production. In other words, not your ownership. In other words, the ability to purchase things at a price, the ability and the freedom to work for a wage, the ability and the freedom to own private property. Hold on. Let me take a note for Cornel West. Denise, can we send this to him in a tweet? This is, when you're talking about private property and freedom, let me make this reasonable for him and readable. That is not socialism, okay? Private property, the ability to have a job and work for a wage is not socialism. And he's calling it self-determination. That is the greatest flipperoo I've ever seen of all time. Remember, I play this on my podcast sometimes, a soundbite. Remember The Usual Suspects, Benicio del Toro, when they're interviewing him? We'll flip you. We'll flip you for real. This is the greatest flip ever. Socialism is self-determination. Has this guy cracked a book? The very tenets of socialism are to make things collective and to not have individual self-determination. It's determination by planners, government bureaucrats, and people who will put you in jail and kill you if you don't turn over your stuff to the government. Self-determination, that may be the dumbest talking point I've ever seen. This guy's a professor. I'm not kidding. He's a real professor. Somewhere in the country, Cornel West is probably teaching a kid right now. And he doesn't even understand that self-determination is the very antithesis of what socialism is.